Part 1. You will hear a woman asking a friend for advice about going to a music festival with her children. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 7. Now listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 7.
Thanks for meeting me, Jamie. I know you've been going to the Ironbridge Music Festival with your children for a few years, but I'm a bit worried about taking mine for all 3 days, so before I book, I wanted to get some advice.
No problem. What did you want to know?
Well, is there any advice you can give me about planning for the trip? Is there anything special I should pack?
Well, for your children's clothes, I think it's really important to take things that it's not difficult to see from a distance. You know, like bright colours that will help tell them apart from other children.
Ah, yes, good tip.
And also, remember that even though it's summer, it can rain. And if that happens, shoes can stay wet for ages. So make sure you take some spare ones, especially for the children.
How about the journey? It's quite long, right?
Yes, it takes about 6 hours from where we live.
Ooh, so I'll need to plan to make a picnic lunch to have on the way there.
Yeah, that's what we always do. Actually, there's a really nice forest that's about halfway. It gives the kids the chance to run around, so we normally eat there.
OK, great. But what about camping at the music festival? Is it all right?
Yes, it's very well organised. There are a couple of fields that are just for families, so it's not too noisy.
Oh, that's good. And what about facilities?
Well, there are loads of toilets nearby.
Great. And how about getting all our stuff to where we'll camp? Can cars go all the way there?
I'm afraid not. You have to leave them in a designated area and then carry everything yourselves. It usually takes us a few trips, but it's not that far to walk.
OK. I remember that from when I used to go to music festivals before I had children. I also remember that it was easy to get lost.
Yes, that's a real worry with kids. I always make sure that they have my phone number on them. Now, don't laugh, but I write it on their arm so that they can't lose it.
Brilliant idea.
Thanks. I thought so too.
And what about food? Do you normally cook?
Nah. There are so many good food stalls with food from all around the world. Make sure you look out for the one that sells Indian dishes. It's our favourite. It's usually near the main entrance.
OK, great. And how about drinking water? Do you have to buy it or can we bring our own?
No, there are drinking water taps all around the festival site, so you just need a bottle. That way you can easily refill it. It'll save you money too.
Good to know. Thanks.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 8 to 13. Now listen and answer questions 8 to 13.
So, apart from the bands playing on the main stage, are there many things for children to do? I'm slightly worried that they'll get bored over the 3 days.
Don't worry. There's loads of family activities. One of our favourites last year was the drumming. They had drums of all sizes, so that both adults and children could have a go together.
Sounds good. Are there multiple sessions?
There are 3 in a day. I'd suggest going for the evening one. There's something really powerful about drumming all together at that time of day.
OK, cool. Is it just the one teacher?
Yes, he's really good at getting everyone involved. I can't remember his name now, but he learned to play the drums when he was growing up in Zambia.
Sounds like a lot of fun. I also heard there's a circus too, is that right?
Yes, it's really popular. But if you get there early, there are lots of things going on for kids before the show starts, and they'll be able to chat to some of the performers.
Really? My kids would love that. They haven't been to the circus yet, but they love watching that kind of thing online. So I suppose that takes place outside the circus tent, right?
Yes, it's red and yellow. You can't miss it.
Great. And what about other events? My children always wake up early, so it'd be good to do something with them then.
Well, there's yoga. That's at 7 o'clock each morning. It's apparently really good, and both children and adults can take part. I confess that it's a bit early for me, but my wife has been. Just follow the arrows that will take you there. It's right by the lake. She said it's a really magical location.
OK. There's one other thing that...
That is the end of Part 1. You now have 1 minute to check your answers to Part 1.
Part 2.
You will hear a director of Hawkins, a large department store, giving an introductory talk to a group of temporary staff on their first day at the company. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 13. Now listen to the first part of the talk and answer questions 11 to 13.
Hello everybody and welcome to Hawkins. I very much hope you will enjoy working here and indeed that some of you may take the opportunity to join our permanent staff. Now, my purpose this morning is to give you a short overview of Hawkins and a few pointers about working here. Then I'll hand over to Celia, Head of Human Resources, to begin the training proper. Right, now we've seen quite a mixed history in sales recently at Hawkins. 5 years ago, we saw the beginning of a success period as sales climbed at an exciting rate, but then they went flat again for a few years, although we're delighted that they've recovered in the last year to rise again, so the future looks bright. As a company, we have to watch and be proactive about where these sales are coming from. All of you here will be allocated to different departments, but you may be interested to know where your area stands in relationship to others. Hawkins was traditionally basically a clothing retailer, and clothes remain an important part of our business, but over recent years we've seen that reduce as food and electrical have both grown, leaving us equally balanced on all fronts at the present time. This is a situation we'd be pleased to maintain, although the general increase in food spending is predicted to affect all major players in our sector. Well, that's us. What about you, as temporary staff? Where do you fit in? Any business that operates in a changing climate must rely heavily on contributions from a flexible proportion of its staff, and Hawkins is no exception. Last year, we recruited temporary staff into every department, and this year we've done that again, actually increasing the numbers, and we expect to take on an even higher proportion next year. So you'll be playing an important part in our success.
Before you hear the next part of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 14 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 14 to 20.
We regard the Hawkins approach to the retail business as something special. Our mission statement, the guiding idea behind everything we do, is based on quality and is phrased creating value for customers. And this belief applies to every customer and every purchase, however large or small. Happy customers means good business for us, and your main aim must always be to keep customers happy. If any kind of problem or complaint arises, don't try to resolve it yourselves or simply leave it to a colleague, but get the assistance of your line manager. It's his or her responsibility to sort it out. A properly resolved problem will mean we get a loyal customer for life, and that's why we need to make sure that everyone who shops here feels they have had a positive experience, not just a routine transaction. We like to remind customers that everything we sell in Hawkins is high quality. It's the basis of our advertisements. But keep customers informed. Let them know about special offer products. To keep yourself up to date about these and all the other aspects of the company, please look carefully through the newsletter that we publish each month. And something else you'll need to do regularly is to talk with your section supervisor, and you do this in your progress meetings, which will be every Thursday. OK? Right, just a few things and then I'll hand over. I think you were all asked for details of your certificates when you filled in your initial application form. Can you make sure that you provide the Human Resources Office with copies of them by the end of the week? There's a pile of information videos on the table at the back there, and I'd like you to take one each. And please make sure you watch it carefully when you get home this evening. It contains lots of important facts and advice. Will you also pick up your security pass by the end of the day from the office on the 4th floor, as you'll need it to get in tomorrow? Don't forget you'll need it to obtain your staff discount when you make any purchases. OK, that really is it from me, so now, Celia, if you'd like to take a...
That is the end of part 2. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to part 2. Part 3.
You will hear two students, Brian and Emily, talking about penguins, the subject of their current assignment. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 24. Now listen to the first part of the conversation and answer questions 21 to 24.
So, Brian, how have you been doing with your reading on penguins?
Not too bad, Emily. And you?
Yeah, OK. I hadn't realised there were so many differences between the various types of penguin.
No, nor had I. Anyway, I started with the Gen 2.
And me with a rock hopper.
And it turns out they're rather cautious.
Not scared of swimming, I trust.
Oh no, but they don't like going about at night. Scared of the dark, I suppose. And if they're climbing over some rocky landscape, they'll only jump if they have to. And even then they'll look carefully down and spend time deciding whether to or not. Is that common?
I don't think so. The rock hopper will have a quick look if it's somewhere they haven't dropped down before, but they don't seem timid. In fact, they're pretty determined, and if they're trying to get up somewhere, they grip onto the stones with their slightly hooked bills, as well as their nails when the surface gets very steep. Nothing stops them.
Interesting. Because the other type I looked into, the Magellanic, tend to stick to the beach rather than going inland. So you see them walking along with their flippers at their sides or a bit forward. If they come across something they haven't seen before, they cock their head first to one side, then the other, peering out of each eye in turn, as if they don't quite believe anything until they've double-checked it. And then, when they call to each other about anything, they arch their backs strangely first, before making a very loud noise indeed.
Oh, because the king penguin stands very upright when it calls. And they have the longest flippers, which they hold towards the ground, as if they're worried about falling over. But it's quite dignified too. I think they're my favourite type.
Uh-huh.
Now you have some time to look at questions 25 to 30. Now listen to the next part of the conversation and answer questions 25 to 30.
Anyway, there are some things that they all do the same, aren't there?
Oh, yes. Eating fish, for example.
Well, of course. But sleeping, say.
Yes. Occasionally you might see one stretched out flat in the sun for a snooze.
But normally you see them standing at night, even though they're sound asleep.
It seems odd, doesn't it? And then they're all liable to get aggressive if they feel invaded, aren't they?
Yeah, not quite so sweet then. And with the rock hopper...
The one with the distinctive black and yellow feathers on its head.
That's the one. If it gets annoyed about something, then the black feathers on the head point upwards and the yellow feathers stick out. It all makes it look bigger or tougher.
I wonder how often they get annoyed.
Well, I don't know about annoyed, but they've plenty to get frightened of. They've got predators in the water and on land, well, in the sky anyway.
Oh, yes, the great skewer bird. It's after the eggs.
So the penguins have to keep a careful watch for the skewer all the time, especially when they're nesting.
They can spot the white patches in its wings, can't they, as one flies over?
Yes, and then they sit very closely on the eggs to protect them.
Not an easy life, really.
No. So what else have we found out?
Well, I was interested to see that although they nest individually, they always go into the sea together, in large numbers.
Even though it might make them more obvious to predators.
That's the price to pay for the best way to find food. It means a bigger catch from each trip.
I see. I watched a video too, just showing them on the beach, and I was struck by how calm they seemed to be. I thought they might have looked frightened.
Perhaps it's because there are so many of them. Maybe that gives them a sense of security. In fact, all the types have a social nature.
I guess that's why we humans find them so fascinating to observe.
I guess so. So, shall we start to put all our notes together? And then I think we ought to...
That is the end of part 3. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to part 3.
For centuries, beavers were widespread across Britain's rivers and wetlands. However, due to extensive hunting, they gradually disappeared. They were mainly trapped for their thick fur, which was highly valued in clothing production, as well as for their meat, which was considered a delicacy. But another major reason for their decline was the demand for a certain glandular secretion they produced. This substance was not only used in medicines and perfumes, but also played a key role in transport industries, as it was an essential component in waterproofing leather goods and enhancing the quality of certain products. Today, conservationists are leading efforts to reintroduce beavers into carefully selected habitats. However, one of the major challenges is ensuring that these animals are not targeted by illegal hunting again. Government policies and conservation groups are working together to implement legal frameworks that will offer beavers protection from threats in the long run, including both human activities and natural predators. Without such regulations, their population could face another dramatic decline. Beavers are known for their unique physical features, which help them thrive in aquatic environments. One particularly distinctive part of their body serves multiple functions. It assists in swimming, provides balance, and even helps regulate body temperature. This feature, which is broad, flat, and covered in scales, allows them to navigate water efficiently while also acting as a heat regulator. This crucial adaptation is, of course, their tail. As these animals spread across different landscapes, they gradually establish new territories. Their movement patterns are often compared to those of other species that travel across vast distances to find food, shelter, or suitable breeding sites. Similar to birds that relocate seasonally, beavers display a type of migration, particularly when young individuals leave their original colonies to form new groups in distant areas. Apart from their role in shaping ecosystems, beavers have also been historically valued for a particular substance they secrete. This material, which carries a strong, musky odor, was once a prized ingredient in fragrance making. Before synthetic alternatives were developed, this beaver-derived compound was commonly used in the manufacturing of perfume, as its scent had long-lasting properties that helped stabilize fragrances. Despite the ecological advantages of beaver reintroduction, not everyone is convinced that their presence is entirely beneficial. Some landowners and farmers argue that the way beavers modify waterways can lead to certain disruptions. Their habit of constructing lodges and dams using tree branches and mud can sometimes obstruct water flow, causing issues for local residents. Many fear that such changes in river systems could create unwanted complications, leading to headaches for communities that rely on stable water levels for irrigation or infrastructure. Despite these concerns, research has shown that beavers contribute significantly to improving natural habitats. One of the most noticeable effects of their return is the rise in public interest. Scientists, wildlife enthusiasts, and tourists have flocked to areas where beavers have been successfully reintroduced. This surge in visitors has provided an economic boost to local businesses, as wildlife observation has become a popular activity. This increase in nature-based travel has helped stimulate tourism, benefiting nearby communities financially. Beyond economic advantages, beavers play a crucial role in water management. By building structures that slow the movement of water, they help prevent sudden changes in river levels. This ability to control water flow is particularly important in regions that experience heavy rainfall. Their natural engineering skills assist in reducing the risk of flood, as their dams act as barriers that store excess rainwater and release it gradually over time. Another vital contribution